Hi, I'm Cameron Atkinson, Director of Women in Banking and Finance Jobs, the job board that seeks to connect top female talent with leading employers in the banking and finance sector and has a particular focus on returnship opportunities, flexible working and part-time opportunities. In this short tutorial, I hope to show you some of the functionality of Women in Banking and Finance job site, particularly teaching how to implement Boolean search techniques in order to create very specific searches and search alerts for exactly the type of roles that you're looking for. It's more focused around the use of keywords and phrases rather than just applying the simple pre-available filters that are available on the WIBF job board. There is a separate tutorial video on how to apply and save the pre-available filters, so please do watch that if that might be of interest. In this video, I will focus more specifically on the Boolean search strings. So to walk you through a few of the points, and then we'll see it in action. So technique one is the use of quotation marks. The use of quote marks around a word or a phrase essentially tells the algorithm, the search engine, to search for exactly what is between those quote marks. So it is typically used for phrases like investment banking or business continuity planning, as in the examples here, but it doesn't necessarily have to be more than one word. If there's a very specific word or perhaps an acronym that you're wanting to search for, a good example might be just the same as executive assistant would be within quote marks to be captured as an exact phrase. So too could you put EA as its abbreviation in quote marks. The quote marks make it that much more specific because, to take those examples, if you wrote executive assistant without the quote marks, then essentially the search engine would look for the word executive anywhere and the word assistant anywhere. It would interpret them separately. The quote marks kind of tie them together. In just the same way, the abbreviation EA, without the quote marks around it, the search engine would look for the letters E and A next to one another anywhere. So if the word team was in a job description, that would meet your search criteria and be brought back as a result, something that you probably wouldn't want. So use quote marks around specific words or phrases to capture exactly what it is that you're wanting to look for. Be cautious of any spelling mistakes. Rule number 2 is the use of the word or. Now, or must be capitalized so that the search engine can interpret that as a command word. Or will sit between different search terms and will increase the number of search results that you receive because you're basically adding flexibility around what you're willing to accept in your search results. Give me this or this. So give me executive assistant as a phrase, or EA as an abbreviation. Give me investment banking or private equity. Give me business continuity planning or BCP, as in the examples here. Just remember to capitalize or, because if you put that in lowercase letters, the search engine will interpret that as just another word in your keyword search string of search criteria, and it will look for the word or in a job description. Again, probably not something that you're specifically going to be looking for. Rule number 3 is the potential use of the word and, again capitalized, so that it's recognized by the search engine as a command word. Now, and again will be used between different search terms, but this time instead it will narrow down the number of search results that you receive because you're being that much more specific about exactly what you're willing to accept in your search results. Give me this and this, as opposed to the previous example, that or that. Unlikely that the and will be used between synonyms, as we saw in the previous example. We said executive assistant or EA. This time it's highly unlikely that you would want a job description to say executive assistant and EA. One or the other would be enough to make sure that you're looking at the right type of job description, whereas and allows you to add different elements of a search together to really narrow down and hone in on exactly the type of job that you're looking for. So if you wanted a job that particularly spanned the investment banking and private equity sectors, that would be one example of how to use and. Notice in all these examples that each of the different rules apply to one another. So if you're wanting to use a specific word or phrase, then in order to use technique 2 with or, technique 3 with and, we still need technique 1, the quote marks, to be applied to any specific word or phrase. Technique 4 is the use of parentheses or brackets. Personally, I find this very useful for compartmentalizing the different aspects of the search that you're trying to build. And I always imagine it that you're saying, give me anything in one set of brackets and anything in another set of brackets. So therefore, you're more likely to see ors used within sets of brackets and ands used between sets of brackets. So let's look at an example here. So within one set of brackets, investment banking or private equity, and outside of the brackets, partner or managing director. So in this first example, you're saying that you want the job description to mention either private equity or investment banking because you'd be happy to work in either of those industry sectors. So that one set of brackets is kind of captured industry sectors with some flexibility in there. The second set of brackets, partner or managing director, is dedicated more to a search around the job title, and you'd be willing to accept either a partner level job or a managing director level job. And then we have an and between there. So give me any of these sectors and any of these job titles. The second example there, business continuity planning is covered in one set of brackets and disaster recovery is covered in the second set of brackets. Flexibility between different ways business continuity planning can be written in the first set of brackets, flexibility around disaster recovery and how that could be represented in the second set of brackets with an and in between because you're being that much specific saying, I want something to do with business continuity planning to be mentioned and something to do with disaster recovery to be mentioned. Technique number 5, perhaps the less common than the other examples that we've looked at, but it can be the use of an asterisk, essentially as a wildcard or a substitution, either for a few letters or for a whole word in a word or a phrase. So good example here in example number 1 is investment bank asterisk within the quote marks as per rule number 1. So if a job description mentioned investment bank, or contained the phrase investment bank, it would come up. But that asterisk can also be a substitute for ing at the end of bank. So if the phrase investment banking was used, that would come up, or just a reference to investment banks, that would come up, because the asterisk is replacing any potential end to the word bank within that exact phrase. Alternative, I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be just a substitute for the end of a word. It can substitute a whole word within a phrase. So we've been using the phrase business continuity planning. If you wrote business space asterisk space planning, then yes, that would bring back business continuity planning, but it would also bring back business recovery planning in your results, or any other combination of words that could act as a synonym for BCP, business continuity planning. Once we demonstrate this on the job board, I'll then also show you how to create a search alert. The guide for that has already been covered in the other tutorial that I alluded to earlier, the tutorial guiding you around applying the pre-available search filters that are available on WIBF Jobs. I do demonstrate how to create a search alert there, but I'll do so again at the end of this tutorial. It's very quick and simple. So let's have a look at how all this plays out on the job board. So coming to the job board, in order to find it, I mean, you can just Google WIBF Jobs and it'll be the first available link on the page there. Alternatively, the URL, the web address is jobs.wibf.org.uk. And this is the landing page, the homepage, and some very useful resources on here. First of all, if you already have an account or you're a WIBF member, then you can log in, but there's no mandatory prerequisite for that. You can create a job seeker profile from the homepage, which I do recommend. It allows you to share some details around your skills and experience, create a profile which our employers can search on the WIBF profile database to perhaps proactively approach you about jobs, as opposed to you always reactively searching for the vacancies that they're advertising. And it could save you time when applying for more vacancies through WIBF Jobs in future. And then there's a resources section, what some of our employers are talking about, and other market intelligence around opportunities within banking and finance, and various workplace initiatives. You can see the latest jobs that have been posted are featured on the front page, but as we've already been talking about, you're probably more likely to want to narrow down exactly what you're looking for. So let's work through a few examples using the Boolean search rules that we've just run through. If you're technology minded, then perhaps you're looking for opportunities as a developer. Just one word, no real nuances in the way that it's spelt, doesn't necessarily need quote marks around it. But you're probably aware then that there are synonyms for developer, including programmer, engineer. Now, because we don't want all of these to necessarily be required in the one job advert, this is where our rule for or capitalized comes into play. So what you're essentially saying here is you'd be happy for the job description to feature either the word developer or programmer or engineer. So let's see what results that gives us. 122 results that mention developer or programmer or engineer. Yeah, and you can see Java development, etc. Yeah. Now, if 122 is too many, and you have a very specific skill set within development, then put a bracket around that, because that's the job title, all taken care of within one set of brackets, and then say and then your technology that you want to code in. So Java, for instance. So then these opportunities, Java development, full stack Java developer, you'll get opportunities coming up for the type of IT development opportunity that you were looking for. If you then want to set this up as a search alert and to direct those new vacancies that are posted on WIBF Jobs proactively to your inbox, to save you having to come to WIBF Jobs site and search over and over again for the same against the same criteria, I'd highly recommend that. It'll save you time. It'll make you aware of new vacancies that are posted a lot sooner, and enable you to apply and get your CV in there, and be that much more competitive. So put your email address in there, acknowledge that you've read and understood the privacy policy once you have, of course, and then you can create your search alert there. It may be that you want to, and now that you've got your keywords already in here, maybe you want to filter a little more. So here we can bring into play some of the filters down the left-hand side. For instance, if you're looking for a Java development opportunity, but it must be eligible for flexible working. Alternatively, if we remove that filter and you specifically want the role to be in London, and then you can put your email address in and create that as a search alert. So you can really drill down for exactly the type of opportunities you're looking for with using a combination of the Boolean search criteria, Boolean search formatting for keywords and phrases, and the filters that are available on WIBF Jobs. Let's work through one more example. If we say, we'll use rule number 1, executive assistant or personal assistant. Both synonyms for the same thing, or very similar roles at least. Wouldn't necessarily want to preclude one or the other if that's the type of opportunity you're looking for. 5 results advertised at the moment, all of which must mention executive assistant or personal assistant somewhere within the job description. Hopefully that tutorial has been useful. If you do have any questions, then please don't hesitate to reach out to me, Cameron Atkinson, Director of WIBF Jobs, or our operations team. I'd recommend the best way to implement these techniques is to practice them on the site. And this tutorial, as well as others on how best to maximize the functionality of WIBF Jobs, are available in our member resources. Thank you very much and happy hunting.